In this video, we're going to talk about the experimental procedure for Lab 2. This lab has specifically 5 parts. On part 1, you're going to be doing some conversion problems that they're going to be utilized as more practice for those type of problems. You can see those practice problems specifically on page 7 in your lab sheet. Some of these conversions are metric to metric, some are metric US, and there are some word problems. On part 2 of the lab, you're going to be watching a YouTube video that is going to remind you the correct way to report measurements of length. And then you're going to follow, then you're going to proceed to look at the questions that are given to you. So on page 8 of the lab sheet, you see the questions that you need to answer based on that YouTube video. On part 3 of the lab, you're going to watch a YouTube video and you can see the address here. And then you're going to answer some questions based on the video. And then you're going to proceed to practice how to correctly determine the volume for the images given. And you can see that on page 9 of your lab sheet. On part 4, you need to do a density by volume displacement. Now, in order to do this video, please watch this YouTube video because there have been problems in the past with the FET simulation for this. So it is easier that you watch this YouTube video. There is somebody performing the video, and all you have to do is collect the data, and there are some calculations that you have to do. The data that you're going to gather from there is going to be in page 10. In the video, they're going to show you the mass of each of the blocks. They're going to show you the volume that was displaced by the block. You're going to see in that same instance if that block was sinking or floating. There are 2 calculations that need to be done by you. One is the volume of the block and the other one is the density of the block. The volume of the block is going to be determined by taking volume displaced, and you're going to subtract it from initial water level. That's what's going to give you volume of block. To determine the density of the block, just for space, I'm just going to put the equation below. To determine the density of the block, you're going to take the mass in kilograms, and you're going to divide that by volume of block, and that is in liters. So the information from the second column and the fourth column was utilized for the density of the block. At the end of the video, you're going to record the densities of these known materials, because as part of the exercise, you need to identify what are the materials for each one of the blocks. Please pay attention to format for data entry. Because in this lab, specifically when you're entering this data into your lab Canvas quiz, there's a particular format that needs to be entered. If not, you're going to get some of these incorrectly. So please make sure that you read the instructions to the format and instructions given so you can enter your data the correct way. The last part of the lab is that you're going to watch a YouTube video where there is somebody performing the lab. And you're going to see that this person performing the lab actually does some experimental errors. So from that video, you're going to be answering the questions on page 11. And that completes lab 2. Remember that for each lab, what you need to submit is your lab Canvas quiz. That's how you earn points.